If you struggle with shading, this video is a must. Learn 4 key techniques, fix your mistakes, and improve your skills. So listen carefully and stay tuned till the end. 1. Whip shading technique. For whip shading, magnum needles are used. These needles allow the shadows to be seamlessly placed into the skin. For whip shading, a voltage range of 6 to 8 volts is ideal. This voltage allows for lighter pressure and ensures a smooth and natural shading effect. The needle moves quickly and with less pressure, avoiding clumping or uneven ink deposits. Correct technique. First, hold the needle at a 45 or 60-degree angle to the skin to ensure the ink penetrates evenly. Then, move your hand either in an upward motion or with a flicking motion. This creates soft, natural lines. The movement should be quick and light to ensure smooth shading without clumping or excess ink buildup. Important tips. 1. Control your hand to maintain smooth, even shading. Avoid jerky or inconsistent movements. 2. Use diluted gray wash to achieve softer, more natural shading effects. The diluted ink will allow for smoother transitions and softer gradients. 3. Avoid applying too much pressure, as it can lead to dark, uneven shading. Light pressure ensures smoother results. To execute whip shading correctly, it's essential to control the hand, apply light pressure, and move quickly and smoothly. The shading should be soft, natural, and free from clumping. With the right needle and voltage, you can achieve professional, smooth results. 2. Stippling shading or dots shading techniques. For stippling, awl needles with smaller sizes, like 3 or 5, are typically used. These needles help create small, precise dots that form soft, beautiful shading art. For stippling, a voltage range of 6 to 7 volts is recommended. This allows the needle to penetrate the skin easily while increasing the precision of the dots without injecting too much ink. Correct technique. 1. Start by creating small, uniform dots across the skin surface. The dots should be placed evenly and carefully to create soft, natural shading. 2. Use the dots to gradually build up shading. The more dots you place, the darker and deeper the shadow will become. 3. Maintain an appropriate distance between the dots. Too close together will make the shading too dark, while too much space will leave the shading too light. Important tips. 1. Stippling requires great precision, so focus on the small, consistent dots to ensure the shading looks even and smooth. 2. To create natural, appealing shadows, build up the dots in layers. Start with finer dots and gradually create deeper shading. 3. To soften the shading and prevent clumping, use a diluted gray wash. Common mistakes. 1. Dots too large, the shading becomes too dark and unnatural, instead of soft and smooth. 2. Inconsistent spacing between dots, the shading looks uneven and unnatural. 3. Too much pressure, the ink is deposited too heavily, making the dots large and messy. Conclusion. Stippling is a beautiful and precise shading technique that creates soft, natural shadows. By focusing on small, consistent dots, you can build shading with depth and subtlety. This technique is particularly well suited for detailed, delicate designs. 3. Pull whip shading. For pull whip shading, RS or Magnum shader needles are typically used. RS are good for soft, fine lines, while Magnum are ideal for broader, smoother shading. A voltage range of 7 to 8 volts is ideal for pull whip shading. This allows better control over the needle for precise shading. Correct technique. 1. Start from the central point. The pull whip shading technique typically begins from a central point. First, place the needle in this area and begin pulling lines outward. 2. Pull lines with a fast motion. Move the needle from the center outward, maintaining a fast and flicking motion to create delicate and soft lines. 3. Add more layers. Once the first layer is done, you can add additional layers to make the shading gradually darker. 4. Control the pressure. The hand pressure must be controlled to ensure the shading is created naturally and smoothly. Important tips. 1. Fast and smooth movement. The motion should be fast and soft to create natural-looking shading. It should be delicate to avoid harsh lines or ink clumping. 2. Use diluted ink. To achieve soft and natural shading, use diluted gray wash to create smoother transitions. 3. Focus on consistency. Make sure your hand movement is consistent and fluid to avoid uneven lines. Common mistakes. 1. Excessive pressure. If too much pressure is applied, the shading will become too dark and unnatural. 2. Inconsistent hand movement. Irregular hand movement will result in rough, unnatural shading. 3. Too fast movement. If the movement is too fast, the ink won't properly settle into the skin and the shading won't be even. Conclusion. Pull-wick shading is a great technique for creating soft, natural shading achieved through fast and flicking needle movements. By following key tips and avoiding common mistakes, you can create precise shading that adds depth and beauty to your design. 4. Soft shading techniques or smooth shading techniques. For soft shading, RS or Magnum shader needles are used. RS are great for creating soft and smooth shading, while Magnum are ideal for covering larger areas and achieving smooth, seamless shading. A voltage of around 7 to 8 volts is ideal for this technique. This helps create smooth, consistent shading without the ink spreading too much on the skin. Correct technique. 1. Start from the lighter areas, begin shading in the lighter areas and gradually move towards the darker areas. 2. Smooth, continuous motion. The needle movement should be smooth and continuous, allowing the shading to appear seamless and without harsh lines. 3. Use diluted gray wash. Use diluted gray wash to allow the shading to blend smoothly and naturally into the skin. 4. Control needle pressure. Ensure your hand pressure is light and controlled to avoid creating unwanted lines or heavy ink spots. Important tips. 1. Focus on edges. To achieve smooth shading with no visible edges, focus on softening and blending the edges of your shading. 2. Use blending techniques. Utilize blending techniques to merge shadows and remove harsh lines for a seamless finish. 3. Practice on synthetic skin. To improve your soft shading technique, practice extensively on synthetic skin. Common mistakes. 1. Thick ink. The shading appears patchy and unnatural. 2. Too fast needle movement. The ink doesn't settle into the skin properly, making the shading uneven. 3. Excessive pressure. Too much ink is deposited into the skin, making the shading dark and uneven. Conclusion. Soft shading is an excellent technique for creating natural-looking shading with no visible lines. With practice and control over pressure and needle movement, you can achieve smooth, even results that enhance your design. For a high-quality and professional tattoo, patience and consistent practice are essential. The best way to achieve excellent results is by working in layers and applying the right techniques. Every skill you learn will have its place in tattooing. The key is to improve a little every day and trust your journey. A true artist masters their craft through dedication and perseverance. What can we do in our next videos to help you more? Share your suggestions in the comments. And don't forget subscribe for more tutorials. Good luck!